Welcome to this week's Preston video blog. This week we're going to look at the whole question of transport, public transport and congestion from cars. Like many other towns and cities, on most weekends and in most mornings and in the evening rush hour, Preston is clogged with cars. A journey which should take no more than a few minutes can take half an hour and sometimes longer. The problem is manifold. The first one is that Preston is an old town and the roads are narrow and weren't designed to put up with the volume of traffic that we're now seeing in Preston. In the last 10 years there has been a 20% increase in the volume of traffic on Preston's roads, and the prediction is that in the next 15 years there will be a further 40% increase in the volume of cars coming into the city centre. This is at the heart of the problem of gridlock, which means that when we travel into the town in our cars it takes us much longer than we expect. But there are other problems. Cars are also at the heart of the problem of climate change. Climate change is now accepted by all the leading scientists as being a real feature that we have to address, and cars are at the heart of that problem. We need to take cars off the roads and we need to prioritise public transport. So for the longer benefit and interest of human society, we need to deal with the problem of cars. But the other issue is that in Preston, like many other places, the volume of cars are now incredibly dangerous. Cars are the biggest killer of young people in our society. In the last few weeks there have been 2 people who have been killed while trying to cross Preston's busy roads. Given this, we're not anti-car, we don't believe that people should not have cars, but we do think that we should start to prioritise a public transport alternative, which is good for the environment, good for us and good for the people of Preston. Well, we've moved down to the Preston Bus depot, and obviously the solution to car congestion partly involves increased bus usage. Preston Bus has a long history in this city. It's a very popular service and it uses and provides buses on all the main routes into town. But again, there's been a number of problems. The first one started almost 20 years ago now, when the Conservative government of the time moved towards bus deregulation. Instead of Preston Bus being owned by the corporation, the old city, it became a private company and had to run by private company rules. This meant that over the 20 years, relative price increases have gone up above the rate of inflation, so it's now quite expensive to travel on buses in Preston. And the second aspect is that not all routes are provided and treated in the same way. There are popular routes where there are lots of buses, and there are routes on the edge of the city where it is very difficult to get a bus. Making this whole question more difficult is the fact that recently Stagecoach buses, a large multinational, have moved into Preston and have tried to undercut the local provider. They provide cheap services on the most popular routes at the busiest times of the day, but their aim is to push Preston Bus off the road altogether, and when that happens, all the recent history tells us that Stagecoach buses will go up in price and that the routes that they provide will decline. So of course buses are part of the solution, but bus competition is not. What we need is regulated buses, planned timetables, controlled locally to meet local needs. So what's the solution here? Clearly bus and integrated transport systems are at the heart of the solution to the problem of congestion and to the problem of climate change. And buses are part, but so are other things. We need to provide more walkways, we need to provide more cycleways and encourage people to keep fit and also to keep friendly to their local environment. But in towns and cities like Preston, there are also vast parts of the city which are divided by old railway tracks, like the one behind me. These tracks go from just outside Preston all the way through the city, down through some of the most populated parts of the town, through the student centre, round the university and into the town before heading out towards Preston and the neighbouring towns. These tracks have been abandoned for a number of years, but they're still perfectly usable. They could host rapid transport systems, they could host trams, and Preston could start to move away from a city requiring and dependent on the car to one in which cars are used, which people have cars, but which also has a planned bus system and an integrated transport system. This is the future that is necessary for Preston to keep it a clean city. This is the future which has to be necessary to save people's lives on overcrowded roads. And of course, if we really are serious about dealing with climate change, this has to be part of the solution to dealing with the problems that we are imposing on our environment. Integrated public transport is the way forward for Preston, and it's the way forward for humanity.